Let's get hyped. Let's get hyped about it. Let's go.
All right, welcome back to Talking Tridents, a Mariners podcast. The season is here. Opening day has come and gone, and we've seen a few things that we're going to dive into. Our early impressions so far this season. But first, we wanted to kind of revisit something we talked about previously. Ichiro's first pitch thrown out on
Man,
opening day.
I was way off. Way off.
Yeah, a little bit high, a little bit
Yeah.
high, but he still got it.
Yeah, I think so. I was at the game on Thursday, and it was pretty cool to see in person. Got some cool footage we'll put in here, but he hit 84. So I think you were closer than I was. I was a little overly optimistic for a 51-year-old guy, but it was kind of cool to see, though. Former players out there on first day. I know nostalgia's been a big factor in the Mariners trying to get some fan interaction this year. So that was cool to see as a longtime Mariners fan. So
Yeah,
another thing they announced we haven't been able to talk about yet, but Big Dumper has been extended. You
yeah,
saw that
let's
too.
go.
So Big
Sorry.
Dumper's been extended to a 6-year deal. Um, 6 years, 105 million with a vesting option for his. I think it was the 2031 season, which doesn't sound like a real year, but it is. So, what was your first thought when we saw that extension? I know it came through. What was it, the day before opening day, right?
Yeah, we haven't been able to talk about it yet on the podcast, but I am super hyped about this for two reasons.
Ooh,
Um, One, because obviously we get to keep Raleigh in Seattle, and I'm happy to have him. But also what it means for our pitching staff, and hopefully getting to
yeah,
extend some of our pitchers, if not all of them, hopefully. But yeah, I mean, having him here for the long term is going to be great for hopefully those, Gilbert, Miller, Wu, maybe even Kirby
yeah.
to,
We'll see.
yeah, want to stay here. So
No, I
that's
definitely
another
think that's
plus.
something to think about. I mean, if I was a pitcher going into extension talks, I'd want to know that I have someone behind the plate that's got me, that I can throw that slider
Right,
down and away, and he's going to keep it in front. That he's going to manage the game and manage myself and everything. So I think you're right on track. I think that's
right,
why it's something that the upper management's thinking about, and I hope they are because well, if you get even one or two of those guys, it's going to be really good to see. So the fan base is going to be excited. I know when I was there
right.
Thursday when they announced, on the big jumbotron that the Mariners had extended him. Man, the fans were going crazy. They love seeing Big Dumper here, and it's kind of cool to see him talking about wanting to be with one team his whole career because this contract potentially gets him there. So,
Yeah, yeah, for sure. It's good to see.
um, let's talk about the numbers of it really quick. I don't know if you saw, but this year he's only making $1 million with a signing bonus of like 10 million or something like that. And then we see him
Yeah,
making 13 mil next year, 14 mil the following, and then 25 mil following 3 years after that. Um, and then in the final year of the contract for the vesting option, it'll be 20 mil. So I think for Cal Raleigh, that's some very reasonable numbers. I think signing him a little earlier in his career really helped us get those numbers down. But I also think that this gives Cal an opportunity too to have some stability and security in his career.
yeah, yeah. I agree. I love that deal. I mean, we got him for for his caliber of player and a catcher. I think we got
Yeah,
him for a great price, honestly.
I
I'm
agree.
sure other I'm sure there's a few other teams I would have paid more for him
Oh,
for
for
sure.
sure.
So
If he was to hit free agency in the
yeah,
2028 season after arbitration, I mean, he's easily going for, a 5-year, $200 million deal, especially if he keeps playing at the caliber he's doing now. But I think this accomplishes two
yeah,
things. It gets the fan base very excited. It gets the Mariners that player that they've been looking to lock up for a while. I know we have Julio locked up, but beyond Castillo, I don't think anyone's in the books for a while. And then for Cal, it gives him that one team experience that we saw with, Kyle Seager, most of Felix Hernandez's career. So I think Cal wanted
right,
that sort of career for himself. So I think all sides are
yeah,
really got what they wanted, and I'm super excited for what this means for the future.
yeah. Me too. Me too.
Opening day was amazing. I was able to see so many things, and we actually I was able to run into the Marine Layer podcast guys. I was able to run into Lyle and TJ, meet them, talk baseball with them for a few minutes. So that was really cool. One of the better Mariners podcasts out there. I really think they do some good work. They definitely talk about a lot of things, and what I like is they're not willing to, talk bad about the Mariners and the upper management. So it was good to see them out there. Really good guys. Was able to meet them on opening day. So shout out Marine Layer podcast. Thank you guys for taking a second and talking with us. And yeah, opening day's here, baby.
Yeah. If you haven't heard of them, go check them out. I know we're the bigger name, but they're
Yeah,
out, they're
Talking
out there as
Trident's
well.
on the up and up.
Yes, sir.
We've seen a few games now. We're 3 games into the season, going into the final game against Oakland today. But going into this rubber match of the series, it's going to be important to get this win with Wu on the mound. What have you seen so far in this year? Obviously, 3 games is a small sample size, but it's still worth talking about. Seeing what trends we've seen,
Oh boy.
other things like that.
I mean, I'm not happy with what I've seen. I think the question more is what haven't we seen? Um, I mean, we haven't seen offense. We haven't seen, other than the first game with Randy and Polanco, coming through big. Other than that, we haven't seen any real offense, in my opinion.
Yeah.
A lot of guys. I know it's only 3 games, but the play discipline and I don't know if you want to call it pitch recognition, but they are not seeing the ball well. It looks like, and they're swinging. I mean, I don't know if they're trying to be too aggressive or they're just so excited that it's yeah, it's terrible. Also, yeah, yesterday we saw Solano play first base,
Hmm.
5'8". He is 5'8". Why is he playing first base? I liked the thought of it in spring training and talks like, oh, it could be a potential way to get him in the lineup and stuff. But after seeing it,
Hmm.
like, no, I don't
When you
think that.
have
I
Luke
don't think he
Raley
could be
and
playing first
Tellez as
base.
options, who are both well over 6 foot, I think
Yeah,
it gives a bigger target. We saw.
yeah,
I think it was no, that was Dylan Moore at first base yesterday when Polo had that throw. But I mean, when you have someone at
and
first
that
base who
too.
confidence and you can just kind of chuck it across the field and hope that they get it, and that also comes with a throw up and away. So I think when you have a
Hmm.
taller guy over there, it really helps out. But um, yeah, it's
Yeah,
been interesting seeing what the lineups that we've been making. I know that we have a lot of flexibility in this roster. A lot of 3 different guys playing that could play first base. If not, well, Dylan Moore, so that makes 4. Plenty of different guys, going to see time at second base as well. It's been interesting seeing how Dan Wilson's been making the lineups. But what you said earlier, you're right. I mean, they're just swinging out of their shoes. They're trying to get that big hit. I think after the excitement of opening day, the crowd is going crazy when Randy hit that game tying home run, and then when Polo hit the game winning home run. But it doesn't
yeah,
always have to be a home run. It doesn't always have to be some big crazy hit. It can be a single up the middle with a guy on second base that wins the game. Um,
yeah,
I think this team, like you said, needs to find some recognition of pitches. I think they need to find some patience at the plate while also jumping on that fastball when they get it.
yeah. And I don't know what Dan Wilson is doing. I don't like Dylan Moore at first base either. I
No,
mean,
I
keep
think they're.
Rayleigh and
Sorry.
keep Rayleigh and Tellez, rotate them at first, and Rayleigh can play outfield too,
Mhm.
and obviously DH. And Solano, he can play DH and he can play middle infield. I mean, there's no reason that Dylan Moore and Solano should be at first base, in my opinion.
At least
I
on a
mean,
consistent basis. I think last night's
I
scenario
mean,
was
the
that
third
Dylan Moore
game
was
already,
pitch
and we're already
hitting.
seeing him.
Yeah, I
No,
mean,
come
it was.
on.
I think it was a pitch hitting situation where they wanted to play the lefty righty matchup, put Dylan Moore in against lefties because he hits lefties significantly better than either Luke Raley or Tellez. But at that point, you also got to think is this, like you said, is this the best guy to have at first base? And I know you don't want to be using all of your bench players too early in the game, but it'll be interesting to see how this progresses. Uh, but I agree. There's definitely a time and place for Dylan Moore at first base, and it's not game 3. It's not game 4. It's
Yeah,
not game 5.
no,
It's those games that get to the ninth inning down the stretch, or even when injuries
I
happen. But
I don't
yeah, I
know.
mean, I'm looking at some stats right here too. I know that Mariners have had some struggles with strikeouts in the past, and again, we have a very small sample size. Um,
God.
if you take away the Cubs and the Dodgers, who have both played 5 games with the Tokyo series, only
Hmm.
one team has more strikeouts than us, and that's the Detroit Tigers. They
Yeah,
have 38. We have 32. 32 in 3 games is insane.
that
I
is.
mean,
I mean,
that's
talk
like a
about
10
Julio, dude,
plus.
striking out almost every plate appearance.
Yeah, I think he struck out every single time last night, didn't
No, not last night. The night
he? Oh,
before, he
the night
struck out
before.
three
Okay.
times.
Yeah.
Last night he had two walks, but
Yeah.
still, I
It's
think he had
just,
one strikeout. It's like, come on.
I know that you saw this. Our former player Justin Turner. We both wanted him back this year, this offseason,
Uh,
but he had some
so
thoughts
sad.
for the Mariners management, and he said, "What are you doing? You are wasting an opportunity." And
Yeah,
again, 3 games in, it's really hard to say moving forward it's going to be like that the whole season. But you like to think about
yeah,
that because they could have gone out and got some big names, or even added some just better names, and they didn't.
yeah,
So that's frustrating for a fan base, and we're seeing that now.
yeah, right. I mean, yeah, and I don't like the way so far honestly, the bullpen has been handled
Hmm.
along
Yeah,
with even our starting pitchers. I mean, we saw in the second game, Castillo only went, what, 5 innings? And
he pulled out
then,
5 innings at like 80 pitches.
yeah, and the game was still, what, a run game at that point,
I think it
right?
was a 2-0 game at that point, but
Okay, two
regardless,
run game, and then they
yeah,
put in Saucedo, and they kept him in way too long. They let him give up way too many runs, and then we were out of it. It's like,
mm.
what are
And these
you,
guys are finding their confidence, they're finding
what are
their
you
groove,
doing?
but you also got to help them get to that point. You got to help them find that
Yeah, and
groove
we,
by understanding when they're done. You're not gonna put your 5-year-old in a game and let him pitch 9 innings when I'm not comparing these guys to 5-year-olds, but you know what I'm saying. You gotta
some
be
of
able
them
to,
it should be.
yeah, some of them, right? You got to be able to play the cards right. It's a very strategic game. It's a very mental game, and if your guy just doesn't have it, that's okay. Take him out of that situation. But if your guy has it, like Luis Castillo had one bad pitch that led to a 2-run home run, and that was it.
Yeah,
He was
yeah,
otherwise he looked really good. What I thought. I don't know if you noticed this, but he's throwing less fastballs this year, which I like.
yeah. That's good. Mixing, yeah.
He's because
I
we see him in what is he 33 now. His fastball has lost a few ticks from when we acquired him back in 2022. So he's not going to be able to get that 94-mile-an-hour fastball in the top of the zone behind batters.
yeah,
He's got to be a little bit more finesse with his pitches, and I think that he showed that on Friday.
yeah. I think that's probably why he's doing that. But also, we talked about, we have to get this team going early in the
Yeah.
season. I mean, we have to get those wins early,
Hmm.
and
These games
we're
matter
doing
down the
we're
stretch.
doing things already early in the
Hmm.
season that are like we shouldn't be doing. I mean, and we're losing, so
Yeah.
it's just frustrating.
I really hope the offense picks up. I mean, we saw last night they lost 4-2. When you're a starting pitcher, but Bryce Miller, he didn't have a horrible game. He didn't have his best game. He just had a really, I would say, a solid start. Wasn't a quality start, but it
Yeah,
was solid. He goes out
I didn't hate
36
it.
innings, 3 earned
Yeah,
runs. He was missing some bats. Unfortunately, they had some really good contact in some points, but um, these are the games where you gotta be able to score 4 runs a game. You gotta be able to make it
yeah,
interesting. We saw in
yeah.
the first game that 4 runs mattered. We gave up 2, we got 4, we won the game.
Hmm.
So, like you said, these games matter a lot. I hope the offense really finds its way. We've seen some really light spots. I mean, with a Rosarena and that home run on Thursday, to Polo really driving the ball well with authority.
Yeah.
But we just got to
Solo
get
looks good,
everyone.
actually.
Yeah.
Overall, I like what I've seen from him so far. I mean, yeah, he
If you
looks
look at
really
his
good.
swing from his 21 season, he looks very similar to his this season.
Yeah,
I think he feels good. He's healthy, and he's ready to go for the season. And that's just what we need from Polo. I mean, he's that one guy we got last year, hoping that he would be the difference maker. But why can't he be that this year as well? So
yeah, right. Yeah, I think he's one of the guys I've liked what I've seen from him the most so far.
he's
So,
been playing some good defense at third base
that
too,
up.
with the exception of that one throw last night. He's been stopping the
Yeah.
ball pretty well. He's been be able to be mobile. So that knee clearly is better. And I hope
Hmm.
that transitions into the whole year. But
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I know it's early, so
very early.
I'm still optimistic, I mean, but Yeah, I haven't been
Time
too
will tell,
happy
right?
with what
We've
with
seen
what
this
we've
team
seen so
have a
far.
lot of highs, a lot of lows over the seasons. I hope that we just find some consistency. That's all I want to see. So,
Yeah, right. Same.
um, looking at the season though, we've talked about kind of what we need to expect from this team, what players really need to have some big seasons. I think it'd be fun if we were to look at some players that really could impact a season in a good or bad way. There's some
Hmm.
we have a lot of players that are on that kind of the middle ground who have all the they have all the tools to be a really fantastic player, but they haven't shown it yet.
Yeah.
So I think I wanted us to go and talk about some X Factors players as well as a bust player for the year. Who do we think's not going to produce in any way, shape, or form? Do you want
Yeah.
to start with the positive or the negative?
I like this. Yeah, let's start with the negative, and then we'll end on the positive. So yeah, you want to start with let's each pick one
Yeah.
player we think is going to be a bust this year. Go
Well,
ahead.
I can tell you right now, this player has not seen the light. He has found the dark side. J, JP Crawford's my bust for the year. I really want him to be good. I really want JP to be able to go out there and produce like we saw 2 years ago. Again, we said we're going to keep saying this because it's early, but it is early. But I just think JP's not going to find it. I think he's going to be just as mediocre as he was last year, potentially even more inconsistent. He's just not the player he once was, and that's okay. Players regress. Some things happen. I hope he proves me wrong,
Yeah.
but JP is my player I have picked out for. We need him to do good, but he's just not going to be that guy this year. He's going to be our bust.
Yeah, I've kind of thought that for a while now too about JP. Unfortunately, I like him and I wish he could get back to where he was in the past, but I just don't see it with his track record and being inconsistent. I don't see it happening, unfortunately.
Quick side note on that too. I don't know if you heard on the broadcast yesterday when JP was up. They were talking about it a little bit. I didn't know he received MVP votes 2 years ago. He had
He
received
did.
some MVP votes. Yeah, just really quick
Boy,
side
what?
note. Yeah,
I have not heard that either.
because that was the year he had like what was it, 19 home runs. He had really good. Oh, he led the league in walks. I know that was a big part of it. But let's take a
Yeah.
look right here. J.P. Crawford won with 16th in an AL MVP. He only got 5 points, so he had one vote or two votes for him. Um, but Cal Raleigh was on that list. We saw Cal Raleigh at 18th that year. We saw Julio fourth. So I mean, the Mariners that year had some players, and so JP he could piece together a really good season. I mean, he has the capability. I just
Yeah.
don't think he's going to do that this year.
Yeah.
Who do you have picked
Yeah,
out?
unfortunately. My bust this year, I think, is going to be a newcomer, our biggest offseason signing. I think it's going to be Donovan Solano. Unfortunately, I think just at his age and the way Mariners have had free agents come over and historically struggle,
Mhm.
I think Solano is going to fall victim to that,
So,
unfortunately.
so you don't think it's going to be because of his own doing, but because of the Mariners' curse that we have for free agents?
Well, I think it's going to be a mix of both.
Okay.
I think at his age,
Yeah.
towards the end of his career, and mixed with the Mariners
Mhm.
curse, I think, yeah, I think it's going to be him.
Yeah.
So,
No, and I think that's an interesting pick because Solano we've seen he's had success in his career. He batted
yeah,
283 last year or something like that. But he's also been successful as a backup player, a platoon player, a pinch hitter
yeah,
in close games, a guy you could bring in when you need to get a hit. And
right,
I think the Mariners are going to try to use him as a bigger piece, and he's just not. He hasn't had success in bigger roles in his career. So
yeah,
I hope the Mariners can just take a look at what history has said and just run with that because it's worked. Do that, and hopefully he can surprise both of us and not make it to the Mariners bust of the year.
yeah. I hope not, but I mean, I know it's only 3 games, but what I've seen from him on the field so far is it looks rough. So,
He's looked lost at the plate so far. I mean, I
yeah,
know that he
exactly.
was because he was what a week or two late to spring training, something like that. So
Yeah,
maybe he's just finding his way. He's in the lineup again today. Just got submitted again. He is at first base today, just as we said we didn't like, but he is at first base today.
Why?
So
What?
yeah, but
I don't. I don't like that. Why not just put? Hold on. Let me pull up the lineup.
yeah, I think they're playing the numbers again. I think the Athletics have a lefty pitching, so they're going to put a righty in at first base because I saw they have Dylan Moore in too. So and Mitch Garver. They're running with the same lineup that we saw on Friday night when we didn't score a single run. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Let's hope hopefully they can
Yeah. They
turn the
have
tides.
Dylan Moore at third, Garver at DH, Solano at first,
Yep.
R- Raleigh behind the plate.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I hate that.
Well, let's hope. Let's hope. Watch. Garver's going to go deep. Solano's going to go deep. Demo's going to go deep. And guess what? You're going down. Okay.
I'm being so negative right now. I don't like it, but it's just I
Well,
don't know.
hey,
I'm just frustrated.
let's switch. Let's switch the to our X Factor Player of the Year, the person that is going to be that difference maker. Let's end on a positive note for this podcast because, as Mariners fans, we've had a lot of rough seasons. We've had a lot of disappointment, and I know that we're really excited this year. And let's hope they don't disappoint us. But
Yeah.
so, who do you think who's your X Factor player for this year? Who's the guy that you think is going to he's going to blow it out of the water? He's going to beat all of his projected stats, and he's just going to be a monster to deal with.
Yeah, and I think one thing to mention with this too is like he's going to be the key to the Mariners' success. I think it's going to be Randy Arozarena, a guy that I was so hyped when we got him at the deadline last year. Yeah, I think, and well, he struggled last year when we got him, but I think this year he's going to be back to his old self, his Tampa Bay Rays self. So,
Yeah,
yeah, I
I
think
mean,
it's going to be Randy. What I've seen from him so far, I actually like. He bases loaded last night, nobody out. He hit the ball hard up the middle, but
he was like
unfortunately, right
112
at
exit velo. Yeah, he hit the
yeah,
ball hard.
yeah, it was caught. But yeah, I think it's going to be Randy. I think he's going to go crazy this year. What do
I
you?
don't know if you saw, but his the expected batting average on that hit that he had, or the not hit he had, was 850. That was the
Yeah,
expected batting average by Statcast, and
yeah,
it turned into a double play. That right there
yeah.
should have been two
Right.
runs, and that should have changed momentum
Yep,
immediately. But
yep.
baseball and Mariners curse. So
Yeah, the
um,
baseball gods.
yeah, I mean,
Not
Arozarena, he's one of two players in the last 4 years to have a 2020 season. The only other player to do that is Jose Ramirez, and that's a pretty big name. So I
yeah,
hope Arozarena proves that he is still ready to play. I hope he proves that he is still not a maybe not a superstar, but definitely an all-star type player at the
yeah,
major league level. So I like that pick. I think that it's in his hands. He's got to be there. They're putting him in the four hole every day. So the
yeah,
opportunities are going to be there to make the difference. So hopefully he takes that.
yep, yeah. I hope so
Um,
too. Who do you have?
for me, I'm going to go for a pitcher and someone that we haven't seen yet this year, and we won't see for probably the month of March. But I have Matt Brash as our X factor, and
Mm,
he's gonna do some amazing things when he comes back. We've seen
okay.
Munoz. He just had his, I think it was 100th appearance or something like that the other day, and obviously Munoz is going to lock down the ninth inning for us moving forward this year and into the future. Um, but the seventh and eighth inning are kind of question marks for us right now. We've
Yeah,
seen Trent Thornton, Saucedo, a lot of these names that we have grown to know on this team in the bullpen struggle this year so far. Again, small sample size. But I think when Matt Brash comes back, he is going to be electric. I think he is going to have an amazing season. He's going to be that guy we need for those setup situations to face the 3, 4, 5 hitters in the eighth inning before we get to Munoz, or even the seventh inning to get just that bridge to the closing role. Um, I think
yeah,
he's going to be everything we need this year. He's going to come back with vengeance, and our bullpen right now needs someone like him there. Someone who's going to go
yeah,
out there who can pitch 3 games in a 4-game series. Someone who can go out there, throw 100 miles an hour, and strike a guy out when we need to. So he's the guy I have picked out for my X factor this year.
yeah. I sure hope so. I mean, he's a huge piece that, like you said, our bullpen needs, and if he's on point, like what we saw 2 years ago, it changes this team for sure. So I hope
I
you're
also
right.
think it's interesting to just think about, but Matt Brash is still young. He's really young,
Hmm.
and I think if he can be that guy, he can be maybe one of those people that we extend next. I mean, we've seen a lot of contracts go out to relief pitchers recently that aren't even closers. So it'd be kind of
Yeah.
cool to give him a contract like Munoz if he has an electric year, to give him some security as well as us. So, um,
Or if he does have an electric year, at the deadline, we can trade him
ooh,
for a big bat.
controversial opinion alert. That's
Hmm.
crazy. I don't know about that, but I see some other people that we could trade for bats. But I definitely think if Matt Brash has a good first half, that could be in the conversation, especially if we get something noteworthy back for him. If we get a guy we can slot into, right
Exactly.
behind a Rosa Reyna in the lineup. So
And
I love that.
not a Kendall Graveman for Abraham Toro type
No,
deal.
no, no,
Someone,
no. We
someone
definitely
better.
need more than a Toro. We need at least a Josh Rojas. No, I'm kidding. Maybe this is
Minimum.
our way of getting a Eugenio Suarez back. Diamondbacks don't have a
Eh,
closer right now, so
yeah, I'd take Corbin Carroll.
yeah.
Not
There we go. Yeah, Corbin Carroll, Matt Brash, straight across. It's
not
totally
Suarez.
worth it.
Or how about Marte? Marte for
Yeah,
Matt Brash. Bring
there we go.
Marte back.
One
Now
last
we're
thing I
talking.
wanted to touch base on before we finish up this podcast for today, but I don't know if you noticed this, but one thing I really like that the Mariners have been doing this season so far is they have been aggressive on the base paths. Um, our
Yeah.
team, we don't have a top 5 offense. We don't have a top 15 offense, really. Um, but we need to be able to produce runs. I don't know how you feel about the bunting. I'm not a big bunt guy unless it's for like a bigger picture thing. I'm not a big bunt guy just for a base hit with the bases empty, but
Yeah.
I've enjoyed seeing some stolen bases. I've enjoyed seeing some moving runners over, and we saw Ryan Bliss has been wreaking havoc too, where he's now stolen second base twice and then made it to third base on a crazy throw. So
Yeah.
um, I like finishing, with a little bit of a high note, and I think that our our team is more athletic than they were last year with Ryan Bliss, Master Boni on the bench, Dylan Moore playing a lot, as well as a Rosa Reyna, Rodriguez, and Robles at the top of the
Yeah.
lineup. So
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen that too. I'm really excited to see more stolen bases this year because it can change a game in the matter of seconds.
Yeah. No, I've noticed that too. Even Julio as well.
Yeah,
Yesterday at least.
he had two
So
stolen bases yesterday. He stole third too.
yeah. So that's good. We have
That's what we
those
need to
fast
see.
guys. We also have some slow
Yeah,
guys. So they're making up for it.
you mean What do you mean? Telez is the tallest guy on the team. He's also the slowest. That doesn't make sense.
I think he's the fastest actually.
Yeah, he has the longest leg stride. It just takes him longer to get there. But yeah.
Once he
So
gets moving though.
yeah, he's moving. I'm gonna go on the show and just move his speed to 99 just to make him a menace on the path, on the base paths.
Dude, I think his speed is like 18, maybe
Yeah,
less. I
Tom
like
Brady out here running the bases.
12. I can't remember. Yeah. It's rough though. I think it's
It's rough.
18.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
with that, still a lot of exciting things happen for the season. Let's hope that we can get some more positive things moving forward. Again, it's early. Got to take everything with a grain of salt. Insert grain of salt emoji right here. But it's gonna be fun. I'm excited. Baseball's back. I've missed it for the whole winter. I'm glad it's back here. Can't wait to go to
I
some more
know.
games. Can't wait to see more things, and I can't wait to hopefully see a Mariners postseason appearance this year. So let's get it.
Yes, sir. I know. I'm so happy baseball's back. No better time
Every
than this
single
time
day
right
too.
now.
Every day you get a game. Every day.
Let's go, boys.
Let's go.
Rowdy Tellez, let's get rowdy,
Let's get,
boys.
let's get rowdy with that. That is our podcast episode this week. Thank you for watching Talking Tridents. Make sure you leave a comment on what you think so far about the season. Let us know who your X Factor and who your bust is. And we'll see you guys next time. Thanks.